Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Our guest today is the legend himself, the Robin Hood of Wall Street, Greg Mannarino. Welcome back, Greg.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Love your show. Love you. Love being on.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a huge, huge pleasure having you on. Every time you come down, we have a lot of fun. We got a lot of topics to talk on. But I want to ask you, last time you were on this channel, gold and silver was nowhere where it is right now, like nowhere near. What do you think is happening in the past 4 or 5 months with all this movement in precious metals?
You can look at this from a few perspectives, but I would say how I would look at it is it's a gauge. It's a gauge to where things are going. And we haven't seen, I mean, dude, we haven't seen anything yet here. There's been a drop from the recent high, but we're going much, much higher here with price action of gold, silver, real things, as the dollar continues to be literally sucked dry of purchasing power. So you could say it's so many things. It's an inflation gauge. It's an economic gauge. It's a meltdown gauge. It's a hedge against the system. Period. The end. So yeah, man, people should embrace this. And I know, especially the mainstream media. They're like, well, should we buy? Should we buy? Yeah, you got people on some of the mainstream media outlets saying, well, you should be buying gold here. It's too high. Too high based against what? This is what drives me nuts about the mainstream media. They get a guest out there, they're questioning back and forth. It's all scripted, quite obviously.
Right.
But the question is, oh well, is this the right time for people to buy gold? And then the person will come back and say, well, based on whatever metrics they come up with, which are all nonsensical, people should be careful and cautious. And I get that, but looking at the bigger picture here, if you look at what's happening to not just debt here in the United States, but global debt, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? It's insanity when people try to say things like, "Well, it's overvalued." Based on what? Again, show me or tell me something that makes sense to me, and then maybe I'll change my mind. Until that time, I see gold and especially silver, as you know, as potentially, in fact, I would say the most undervalued assets on the planet at the current time.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Greg. I was looking into some research this week and I seen a chart and it said 67% of Americans right now are living paycheck to paycheck, and there's $1.2 trillion in credit card debt. How crazy is that, Greg? Like, that the purchasing power is being diminished. 67% of Americans in the working class are, living paycheck to paycheck. What does that tell you?
It tells us everything that you and I have been talking about for what feels like 1,000 years is the truth. And it's accelerating. The mainstream media is now being forced to admit that US business activity and manufacturing is in a severe depression, contracting rapidly. We just found out that the jobs market is cratering. I
Right.
mean, the mechanism behind this is, again, currency devaluation, artificially suppressed rates, and vast debt expansion. The same things that are propelling the stock market to record high, record high, record high are a wrecking machine for the economy. And I've been warning that this would happen, and it is happening. And we haven't even seen anything yet as to where this is going. It's not going to stop until, again, what they're doing, and I think it's pretty obvious, man. We've probably spoken about this before. They must create dependency on the current system as they literally intend to pull the rug out from underneath us all. What are they doing here? The situation is so dire, or should I say, set up in such a way now that the Federal Reserve and the Treasury have now merged. There's some kind of a complex going on here, managing the yield curve, making sure rates stay artificially suppressed. And what's happening? It's pushing away natural buyers, quote unquote, of debt, of U.S. debt. Foreign governments, pension funds are basically saying, no, who would want to hold debt at these current yields? So what they've done is put themselves in a position of enormous power to basically own it all, to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. This is exactly what I warned would happen from over 10 years ago. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't need a crystal ball to see where we're going here. The bottom line is this merger gives them power they should not have. And this is not something that just is a spur of the moment, no comedy of errors got us here, no, just an accident. This is over 100 years in the planning with the Federal Reserve solidifying its position of power. And who loses? Well, we the people do. The mechanism here, again, of artificially suppressed rates, currency devaluation, and invested expansion benefits 1% of the population, one, at the expense of everything else. Again, it's a wrecking machine for the economy, but it sure as hell helps the 1 and 2%. Is by the Cantillon effect. The Cantillon effect, very simple. Those who are closest to the money that get it first are the 1 and 2%ers, of course, and then as it trickles down, and I've been telling people trickle down economics doesn't work, to we the people here on the ground, it's already been sucked dry of purchasing power. It's also a mechanism here, artificially suppressed rates, to allow corporations to buy back shares of their own stock, to roll over their debt cheaply as well. And what's happening? Stock market's going up and up. People always ask me, well, Greg, how can the economy possibly be bad if the stock market's at or near record highs? Well, there's no connection anymore. Nothing matters. All the metrics that should matter, that anyone that's in this business as long as me, PE ratios, forward guidance, all it doesn't matter anymore. It's all about easy money. And the market right now is sending. We had a sell-off today. We got the 10-year yield bumping a little bit higher after the Fed made the announcement they're going to cut. What the market is doing, it's a language. The stock market is sending a message saying, listen, we want lower rates and much lower rates. So President Trump, what did he say right after the Fed cut 25 basis points? He says, not enough. He says,
Right.
We need 50, which means what? More purchasing power, destruction moving for more economic destruction moving forward. And the market, it's an interesting phenomenon how the market works. And I've been in this business long enough to see it. You have this thing where the market dictates what it wants, and it's always fed what it wants. It's just like a threat. You see a sell-off. But also the other thing that we don't see anymore is very interesting, is normal corrective phases. We don't get them anymore.
Right.
Where the market pulls back 5, 10, even 20%. When was the last time you remember that happening? Don't happen anymore.
Yeah,
because of the mechanism of, again, yield curve control, managing it all. The whole system is managed now by this Fed Treasury complex. And I feel that this is a grave threat to all of us. But again, nothing's going to be done about it. Most people have no idea it's even going on. But I follow it.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stackers. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It will really help the silver and gold community grow. It'll help this channel grow, and I'd really appreciate it. Back to the video. Yeah, do you believe the central banks are possibly the greatest enemy to the people because, it's completely central, it's completely private. It's separate from the Federal Reserve is not federal at all. But what do you think, Greg? Like, how is this going to end? 5, 10 years down the line. You just mentioned that the job market's cratering. You see Amazon coming out, laying off 30,000 people. All these big corporate companies are laying off all these people. Do you think also as well that with all these layoffs in the corporate sector, because the government is shut down, they can't even pull in the data, the data of all these job losses? What are your thoughts there on the job market cratering?
Well, it's all part of the picture that you and I have been painting and talking about for a very, very long time. And it's not going to stop as the mechanism, the three most destructive things that are happening right now when they're all connected again is currency devaluation, artificially suppressed rates, and invested expansion. But most people they don't even take the time to research. And this is how the few have controlled people since time immemorial. But going back to the central banks just real quick, they are a curse upon this earth. Central banking is a curse upon this earth. The fiat monetary system is a curse upon this earth. The debt-based system is a curse upon this earth. When we lost that, or when we let it go, is when we really started to lose. But basically, it comes down to this. In economics and finance, you could take all of it. Then there are probably enough books to fill up Madison Square Garden from the roof to the ceiling and everywhere else back and forth. There are only two fundamental truths, just two. Number one is to have a strong nation and a strong economy, you need a strong currency. That should make sense to people, right?
Right.
Okay, then why is our president saying we need a weaker dollar? We need a weak currency. It's unbelievable. And the second is to have a strong currency, you need a corresponding rate of interest high enough to support the purchasing power of the currency. Why is our president calling for low rates? Why did he want negative rates during his last term? Why is he, supposedly in this battle with the Federal Reserve to lower rates? That's what a central bank wants to do. Central banks' power exists in their ability to issue debt, period. You take that away, they die. If we had a real leader anywhere in the world, a nation living under the rulership of their central bank, again, a curse upon the earth, we could prevent the central bank from issuing one single unit of currency, just one, they collapse. That's their strength, their ability to inflate. Think about this. Governments don't. How do governments fund themselves? Do governments fund themselves by productivity or production? No,
No,
they
they borrow
fund
money.
themselves by borrowing
Yeah.
more debt. Exactly. So that's the mechanism here. And real government is central banks. The Trumps and all of them, all the Bidens, they're all just mouthpieces. They know what's going on here. This guy is really it's an incredible thing what he's managed to pull off. I've been giving him a credit where I think I shouldn't, but what he pulled off was this. It's the greatest bait and switch the world has ever seen, and in the history of the financial world. And that was, again, writing an executive order saying no central bank digital currency. His followers, they love that here and that, but what did he do? Because he knew he had the workaround. Privatize the financial system. You alluded to Amazon coin or Amazon laying off all these people. What Trump did in July by signing the Stablecoin Token Genius Act was privatize the entire financial system. That's the rollouts is going to be pretty soon, because all the laws are there, all the plumbing is there, all the regulations are there, allowing these same corporations that are laying people off by the tens of thousands to start issuing their own stablecoin tokens.
Which is
It's kind of
crazy.
like absolutely crazy, but it gets even crazier than that. By privatizing the system in this way, there's no oversight. Again, if there were a central bank digital currency, which nobody wants, nobody wants that. So sign the executive order, pacify the people, but then find that workaround. Now, because it's privatized, zero oversight. People would wish they have a central bank digital currency. So what they need, and what you asked me where this is all leading to, is leading to a credit event. And I've been warning about this, again, for many, many, many years. It's not a matter of where the stock market's going to go or doesn't go. Is it going to crash? What's the valuation of the market? It's absolutely out of control and has no place or any business being where it is, but it's all being floated up on oceans and oceans and oceans of debt. But the bottom line is we're going to face what started to happen in '08, which was a lockup of the credit markets. Credit, debt, liquidity is what keeps the system rolling. Without that mechanism of finding ways to keep the system liquefied. Now it's fake liquidity. It's not out of production, as we just discussed a second ago here.
Right,
It's
right.
simply borrowing. And what they do, it's an interesting dynamic here. Think about it. They spend first and then sell the bonds to fill the hole. And again, no one wants our debt. So you got the Fed and the Treasury bond at all. It's an incredible mechanism, but this is what's happening. And it's happening in real time right now. We're not speculating. This is real. So eventually, again, where this is all going is a locking up of the system where the flow of credit is going to stop. Credit, debt, currency being units of debt as well. It's all going to evaporate. What was happening in '08 was interbusiness lending was starting to stop. Interbank lending was stopping. That means it all stops. No, transactions end. The whole system freezes. Zeros across the board on bank accounts. The currency evaporates with regard to purchasing power. Henceforth, why? And I keep bringing this up time and time again. When they rushed Bernanke, Ben Bernanke, then Fed chair, before our representative said, all over that weekend, he says, if we don't start pumping billions of dollars into the system, we won't have an economy by Monday. Not a market. The
Crazy.
market had already dropped from 12,000. The Dow was 12,000 to 6. It wasn't the market. The real issue that we're all going to face, and that's being set up as a credit event. Now, why are they doing that? Trump already signed the stablecoin token. This is the tokenized act, the Genius Act, whatever. That's the backup here. Okay, everyone, we have a solution for you. We're being wiped out. The system is being taken apart piece by piece, creating dependency on the system. So when they flip the switch, people are going to beg for a solution. It's always the same. It's the problem, reaction, solution. So it's all being set up that way. The economy is creating. This is not a comedy of errors. This is not an accident. This isn't a policy mistake. This is all deliberate from the top down. And there's never been in the history of our nation a president that has had such a relationship with the Federal Reserve. On the surface, they're trying to play up there's some kind of a battle going on. But what do the central banks want to do? What is their strength? To inflate. How do they inflate? They kill the currency. They weaken the currency. They keep rates suppressed. They buy it all. They inflate the debt. What is Trump saying? We need lower rates. We need a weaker dollar. What does that mean? Inflate. Again, the best friend ever in the history to the Federal Reserve is Donald Trump. And it's a game. And his people can't see it because they've been blinded.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metal storage. We are proud to be one of the only vault operators approved by the London Bullion Market Association. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
Now, Greg, looking in the past, looking back in history, you had Abraham Lincoln. He was at war with the central banks at one point, and he started printing the greenbacks. And they were a government currency, issued by the government, not central banks, and they were not backed by interest or not backed by debt. Eventually, they took, I don't know what happened, but, that ended. He got killed, but he was winning. Yeah.
What a coincidence, right?
Right. So do you think that would fix this central bank issue in the world where you come out with a government currency that's not backed by interest or backed by debt, where you can use that currency to pay off all these central bank loans and bank debt? Like, is that a possibility where you come out with a currency not backed by interest or debt that could solve this central bank problem, or no?
Well, let me just say this, and I've been screaming from rooftops about this for 1,000 years. You probably heard me say it. President Trump can end the Fed in 7 seconds. It's already there. The Gold Reserve Act of 1934.
Right.
It just needs a signature. If he signs it, the Fed ends, dies, over. The president then can monetize gold, revalue it at whatever he wants, and we get a gold-backed system. But what he's done, what did he just do in July? Stable coin token genius act. We're being pushed further and further away from it. It's further empowering the Federal Reserve. Now, the interesting thing, I want to answer that question, but about this privatized system that was just signed into law, the Genius Act here, it's still overseen by the Fed, despite the fact that the Fed can't do anything. In other words, we can't take action because it's a private system being overseen by the Fed. It's diabolic. It really is diabolic. But the chances of us having a system, a gold-backed, commodity-backed system is zero. You can't legislate our way out of it. In fact, during my the Lions event that we just had here, the Lions gathering here, free to everyone that subscribes to my Substack here. It's an incredible thing. We had 175 at least people there, packed wall to wall.
Wow.
Beautiful. We had Lynette Zhang, who was talking about legislating all the way out of here. Our legislators want nothing to do with this. You could write them letters all you want. They don't want to hear anything you have to say. They're benefiting from the very system. So if we go back to a gold-backed system, which would return power to the people, it would take it away from central banks. Will central banks allow that to happen?
No.
There's no way on this earth that central banks, in fact, the Federal Reserve right now, this is why I am so concerned about what is happening right now. It's happened already between the Fed and the Treasury. They've literally put themselves in a place of checkmate. We, the American people, have been checkmated here. The Fed has their guy right now calling for low rates, a weaker dollar here, vastly inflating the debt. Helps the one percenters. That's it. Destroys us all. And that's the mechanism. The Fed has wanted the spot they're in right now for over 100 years. They will, you name it, they'll do whatever they got to do to keep that power. And we've surrendered to it. People like you and me, the people that follow our work, they haven't surrendered to nothing. They won't. But the fact of the matter is, it's way too late to legislate our way out. We're already seeing the system come apart, the economy, what's happening with inflation. And they're telling us it's cooling. It's not cooling by their own numbers. It's getting worse here. Core inflation continues to rise. And they're telling us the dollar it's stronger. It's rebounding. Has your cost of living changed? Has it gotten better? No. Has the cost of anything changed? No. So it's the propaganda. And we are right in the middle of the early stages, very early stages of a new propaganda deception campaign people aren't going to believe. Right now, we can't get any data. The government shut down here. What's that? It's a crisis. What's that crisis going to do? It's going to require more funding. This crisis is deliberate. They can blame whoever they want. Trump can blame the Democrats, and the Democrats will go back and blame him or everybody else. The fact of the matter is, they all know what's going on. They realize that without this mechanism, we go back to a Mad Max situation, but they're not done. Why are they not done? In my opinion, and I think this is a fact, not an opinion, is they're not done creating slaves to the system with dependency on it. Once they got most of the public literally on their knees, losing their jobs, their businesses closures. Look what's happening to our manufacturing base. It's evaporating. You can't even have a nation if you don't have an industrial engine. But that's exactly what's going on by design. Well, we're supposed to change all that. Remember that? What Trump said? We were going to bring it back. It's dissolving. Do you realize that all these so-called deals that President Trump has made, which he hasn't made one deal yet that doesn't involve an import tax on the American people? Not one. How is that a deal? It's not a deal to me. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the way it's working. And is no one standing up to the guy, at least yet. I'm hoping that at one point, people that supported this thing, it's not human either, are going to finally say they've had enough. Bottom line is, look, it would take a revolution in this nation to bring us back to a commodity-backed system. It will require commitment. It will require, more than likely, a war to occur on American soil. To make this happen, we'd have to change anything. People would die. People are not willing to do that. They were a long time ago. They were willing to die for what they believed in. But now people have been divided and therefore conquered. They're done. This is why the current administration or any administration can do whatever they want. The people are done. They're finished, and they're becoming more dependent on the system. Just so when it all ends, they can say we have a solution for it. It's where we're being set up. It's too easy to see.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy, Greg. It's a circus show, and it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon, unless they plan for it to stop. And then, like you said, roll out. It's just crazy.
The new system. You see, it's how it's going to work. Is this? It has to start out. This transition into the stablecoin token. I call it the company store. I want people who are listening to this, to just look up the company store model. How the company store model worked. The company store model was basically this: you worked at a company, and they paid you in their own currency, and you got to spend it at their store. Basically, that's what they're going to do here. You're going to have companies like Amazon, like Walmart, all these major corporations start to issue their own tokens. This is a completely unconstitutional system here. Nowhere is it written that we should have a system like this. They're going to tell you that this is currency. People are going to believe it, especially the young people, because they're not going to be used to it. This is absolutely unconstitutional, yet Trump signed it into law. Okay, what else do you expect from a guy who I believe is completely corrupted and only out for himself? And of course, people just like him, the 1% and 2%ers. But that's just my opinion. People are entitled to their own. I just look at what's happening here. It's pretty easy to see. So what we're doing here by these corporations being allowed to issue these their own tokens is returning to that company store model. They're going to how to sell it, what they're going to do. And I see it this way. They're going to make it very, very simple to use. They're going to make it very lucrative for people to start to use, let's say Amazon, for example, who could possibly want to be one of the first to issue their token to come out. You use these tokens and we're going to give you X, Y, Z. So people are going to go, heck yeah, man, I can't survive in this environment as it is. This is a beautiful thing. Let's start doing this. And they're going to adopt it and they're going to welcome it. And then we're going to see more and more rollout here. And as it rolls out, I believe once people start to get comfortable with it, that's when it's really going to start coming apart faster, because then they have to transition us over into full tokenization. And everyone knows it's coming. Everyone. Programmable money. Yeah. And that's a problem. I've written papers and papers after this, multiple. I've done multiple videos about it. I want people to start educating themselves about programmable money and what it means. So take that as a little bit of homework.
Yeah, no, that's thank you so much, Greg. This has been such an incredible interview, because I really hope it opens our people's eyes. It's really crazy the time we're living in, but I want to thank you so much, Greg, for coming down and speaking to the community. I want people to connect with you. I'm going to put your links in the description below. So everyone watching this, I highly recommend you go follow Greg's YouTube channel, which will be in the link in the description below. But Greg, man, thank you so much. What a great conversation today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope people get something out of this. I really do.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon, Greg.
Bye-bye.